send them the order and everything?
Because he told them the order.
Okay. And who you want standing up here?
Let's see. Everybody wants to stand up.
Okay.
The more the merrier.
Yeah, you don't want to overpower it.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Have we heard from Jenkins anymore?
Still same. Yeah. We'll just, I told Jack just to grab him and bring him up here when we get in here.
Oh, okay.
Patty? Patty? Mm-hmm.
You gonna wear that jacket? You cold?
Oh, yeah, I'm cold, but also I'm sleepless.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Eric Roby, Director of Legislative and Community Affairs for the Harford County Sheriff's Office. I want to thank our media partners for coming out today and also those of you at home that are watching on the live stream. Today, these public safety professionals and leaders standing behind me are very well aware of the actions the Maryland General Assembly has taken and is about to take in the passage of the legislation that will essentially outlaw the 287G program here in the state of Maryland. Joining us today with comments and thoughts on this legislation and the actions that the General Assembly has taken and that the governor is going to take are Sheriff Brian Albert, he's the Sheriff of Washington County, Sheriff Jim DeWeese, the Sheriff of Carroll County, representing the Sheriff of Cecil County, Chief Deputy Jerry Widows, and of course, Sheriff Jeff Gahler and Sheriff Chuck Jenkins. Both of these gentlemen have some of the longest serving 287G programs in the state of Maryland. We also have two elected officials with us this afternoon. We have the Council President for Harford County Council, that's Council President Pat Vincenti, and we have the County Executive for Wicomico County, County Executive Julie Giordano. And I want to introduce a special lady to us here at the Harford County Sheriff's Office, and someone who probably needs no introduction because of what her and her family have went through with the loss of her daughter. She's a Maryland mom, and she's a resident here in Harford County, and I'd like to bring up Miss Patty Morin to say a few words. Patty?
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank Sheriff Gahler for allowing me to share my comments concerning this program. As many of you know, just 15-minute drive from here, my daughter Rachel was walking the trail after work. She was brutally and horrifically murdered. She was raped. Her body was just, every part of her body had some kind of a mark on it. 3/4 of her brain had hemorrhaged, her skull broken. After that crime happened, the perpetrator, Victor Martinez, lived in Bel Air, continued to work in Bel Air, continued to walk the trail where he murdered my daughter for months after the crime. To say that the 287G program is not important for our community is to allow people like that to continue to live in our community without any means of being able to locate them and process them. I know that Maryland has been participating in this 287G program for almost 20 years. 40 out of 50 of our states in America participate in this program. And the only states that do not participate are the ones that we see on the news with all the chaos and the violence and the fraud. This is a very important program for us. It allows those that we have elected to protect us, our families, our communities, it allows them to do their due diligence in their work to find those that may be of danger to us and remove them. It's not racist. These people are already in jail. We're not out on the streets looking for them. This is a very good program, and I'm personally very upset with Governor Mour and the state for stopping this program after so many years. It has been a safeguard for our community, for our citizens, for our families. And I think every Marylander should call Governor Wes Mour and tell him not to sign that order, to veto it, and to allow us to continue to work in this program. We need to have every possible program available to us, to our families, so that we can feel protected and safe, but also to protect law enforcement and those that participate in this program. It protects them as well by keeping the perpetrator in the jail systems instead of out on the street where you see all the chaos and craziness that's going on in some of these other states. I had so much more to say, but I'm really so very angry that Governor Mour would do something like this instead of thinking about the families that have paid the ultimate price in losing their children, their mothers and their children, losing their children because of these immigration laws and the lacks of them. And I think this program is a safety measure, a safety net to protect us and give tools needed for our law enforcement and those that participate in this program to be able to do their due diligence in protecting us. Thank you. Sorry. I'm so angry. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I do want to start off, Sheriff Jeff Gahler here from Harford County. Sadly, Rachel's story and Patty's story is not the only story Harford County has to tell about how an open border and illegal immigration have sadly taken lives in this county. The year before Rachel was taken, Kayla Hamilton lost her life in a similar brutal fashion at the hands of someone who should not have been in this country, who was here illegally, who was a member associated with a violent street gang, and her mom wanted to be with us today. Tammy Nobles wanted to be with us today, couldn't make the trip up on such short notice. However, she did send a short statement, which I'm going to read. So again, this is from Tammy Nobles, Kayla's mom. Governor Mour is not only making a horrible mistake, but he is putting the Maryland community at serious risk. Safety of the American citizens should be top priority, not protecting illegal immigrants who are criminals. My daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was brutally murdered and raped in Aberdeen, Maryland in 2022 by a 16-year-old illegal immigrant who was a known MS-13 gang member. By not working with the federal agencies, a lot more of these crimes will happen. I don't want to hear stories like Kayla's and Rachel's. They both should have been protected. Governor Mour is more about protecting their murderers and those like them than protecting innocent Americans. And again, that was Tammy's statement that she was kind enough to share with us. I just wanted to touch real quickly on a couple misnomers that are out there as we've gone through this legislative session, and we fought this battle last year trying to keep this vital public safety program. There has been a either intentional or accidental sharing of some false false information related to the program. So much so it's become common vocabulary. And the first of those is that here in Maryland, 287G is a law enforcement program. Maryland outlawed that model, which does exist other places around the country. Maryland outlawed that several years ago. In Maryland, for the last several years, our program for the entire 9 years that it's been in existence here in Harford County is strictly a corrections-based program. So when you have when you have a politician, when you have someone from the legislature coming to tell you that this is a law enforcement program and this is what's happening out on the street, that person is either A, hopefully not, intentionally lying to you to mislead you and to distract you, to have you misinformed, or B, they are uninformed themselves and they are just sharing that wrong information. And the second thing that we are hearing is that this legislation will stop ICE from doing its lawful mission. That too, it could not be anything further from the truth. As we have testified in Annapolis, as Tom Homan has made quite clear, he likes the ICE fulfilling their missions in the counties in a safe environment, in a jail where the inmate who has been arrested for something is identified, is turned over to ICE in the safety of that environment rather than being out in the communities. It's safer for the person, the suspect. It's also safer for the community. Sadly, this program, doing away with 287G, has been sold by some legislators as the solution to getting ICE out of Maryland. The opposite will happen. You will still see ICE, probably in greater numbers, doing the mission that they are lawfully charged and required to do. So those two things, you hear them quite often, and it's such a disappointment when you do. This program, and I think everybody knows, we have the second oldest one in the state here. Sheriff Jenkins has the oldest one, we believe, in the country. When someone is arrested by law enforcement on the street and they are screened at the jail in corrections, a completely different function of government, which happens to fall under the sheriff in some of our jurisdictions, that is where the screening takes place. Again, this is not men and women on the street, and if you have heard that, been told that, look at it, go back to that person and ask them why, whether they're uninformed or they're intentionally trying to mislead you. That is 2 to 1 Democrat. 52% of Marylanders want to see these agreements stay in place. We're asking Governor Mour to listen to the citizens, to look out for public safety, to side with the public safety experts and local jurisdictions who also have a vested interest in this program to help us have this tool to keep our citizens safe. And with that, I'll turn it over to the county executive.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julie Giordano. I'm the county executive in Wicomico County. Wicomico County is the most recent county to enter into a 287G agreement, and I am the first county executive under the current federal administration to take this step. This decision was not made for political reasons, and it was not made for popularity. It was made because the facts of my county demanded it, and because my first responsibility is the safety of the people that I serve. Since I was sworn into office December 6, 2022, I had my Director of Corrections closely track inmate population. And what the data revealed was very troubling. More than 300 undocumented individuals had moved through my correctional facility during that time, and most of them repeat offenders. The charges associated with these individuals are not minor. They include first and second degree murder, first and second degree assault, sexual abuse of a minor. And yes, because of the outcomes of Maryland's judicial system, only one, I'm going to say that one more time, only one of those individuals remains in custody today. The rest have been released back into my community. And that is not compassionate policy, that is a failure in public safety. Entering into the 287G agreement changes that reality. It gives us lawful, controlled, and a responsible way to work with federal authorities to ensure that those individuals that pose serious threats are properly identified and vetted while they are already in our custody, rather than being released back into our neighborhoods. This agreement keeps enforcement where it belongs, in the jail and not in our communities. And that is why our communities are safer with this agreement in place. It is about preventing the event before it happens. It's about accountability. And it's about making sure that violent offenders are not given the opportunity to reoffend at the expense of innocent Marylanders. But instead of focusing on public safety of our communities, we have a state legislature that is focused on redistricting, focused on reparations, and now retaliation against the Trump administration and the Department of Homeland Security. Their current proposed legislation, House Bill 444 and Senate Bill 245, to abolish these agreements across the state are not only short-sighted, but a disservice to the people of Maryland. Our state will not be safer. Our communities will not be safer. So to the members of the General Assembly, do the right thing. Public safety is not a prop. It is not political theater. It is the most basic responsibility of government, and Marylanders deserve better than a legislation that puts ideology ahead of lives. To the governor of this state, I am asking you, veto this bill. Protect Marylanders, show them clearly and unequivocally that their safety matters more than politics, more than ambition, and more than pressure from any side. And to every Marylander, I will not stop fighting for you. I will continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with these gentlemen and every law enforcement agency across the state, making sure that we stay committed to doing everything within our power to keep all of you safe. Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Pat Vincenti, and as Council President for Harford County, my primary responsibility and that of my entire council is the safety and security of our residents. Governor Mour, you often speak about leaving no one behind. We ask you today, don't have the safety of Harford County behind. Respect our local authority, trust our law enforcement professionals, and when this bill reaches your desk, we ask you to veto the criminal-friendly legislation. Thank you.
Joe.
Good afternoon. I'm Frederick County Sheriff Chuck Jenkins. Frederick County is the home of the longest standing 287G program in the country, I'm told. It's been a very effective, very flawless operation in which over 18 years of the program, we have handed off 1,884 criminal aliens over to ICE in the safe environment of a jail. In those particular cases, ICE has not had to come to Frederick and do street apprehensions. They've not had to make street arrests, and Frederick County has been safer for it. I can tell you our crime rate is one of the lowest in the region, not just the state of Maryland, lowest in the entire region, in part because of the 287G program. One other issue, and I'm not going to be redundant, but I will tell you what's another concern to employers in Frederick County. I've had a number of conversations in recent weeks with employers who fear when this program goes away in our counties that ICE will be more visible, more present, they will be making the street apprehensions, and the workforce will disappear into the woodwork. There's a lot of small employers that are risk losing their employees, a lot of large contractors, especially in the building trades. They are all very deeply concerned. I've encouraged them to reach out to their senators, their legislators, and now the governor to appeal to him not to sign this bill, to veto the bill. The governor makes the argument he's trying to make the streets of Maryland safer. He is doing just the opposite when he signs this bill. So as a veteran, a man who served his country, who supposedly believes in the rule of law and order, to keep Maryland safe, I appeal to Governor Mour, do not sign this bill. Let the counties who want to participate in 287G to keep our jurisdiction safer. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take questions from members of the media.
I just wanted,
Kate?
Sheriff Jenkins, I just wanted to double check I heard you properly. You said you're told your
Sure.
program is the oldest
Sure.
in the country, in the U.S.?
Yes.
I wasn't
I am told by ICE officials that the Frederick County Sheriff's Office has the longest standing 287G program of any sheriff's office in the country, yes.
And when did it begin?
2008.
2000. And the number, you said since 2008, 1,884?
Correct. As of last week, criminal aliens who we have turned over to ICE on detainers in our detention center.
Thank you.
And that is an interesting distinction. We do have the longest serving in the state and the newest program in the country, longest standing in the country and the newest program in the country here in Maryland. Yes.
Yeah, for the sheriffs. The bill bans formal agreements with ICE, but if it gets signed, do you plan to still work with ICE and in what capacity?
Jimmy, you want to?
Yeah, so I'm one of the newer agreements. I have a warrant officer program. Absolutely, I will continue to work with ICE. The bill bans the agreements, and in typical Annapolis fashion, they supply no alternative. They did that intentionally because they know that ICE is not going away, and there has to be a process of communication with them. So I will create a policy within my office to continue working with ICE. It won't look much different than what I'm doing right now, and I believe that Annapolis is trying to pull the wool over people's eyes that are proponents of this, because they believe that by passing this that ICE will go away, and they're just simply not going away, or local correctional facilities won't continue to work with ICE, and they just simply will. So Annapolis is trying to pull a quick one on people, but that's just simply not going to be the case.
And to that question, I'll throw in, because our model in Frederick County and Harford County and in Cecil County, the jail model, the 287G program, actually trains our deputies to perform some of the screening work. So it's more of the investigative work. So when you have an open border, like we had suffered for the last 4 years of the last presidential administration, and people are coming across with switch identities and they drop a name, those are the people who are going to be missed. Those people who are doing their darndest to get into this country undetected and unidentified, who pose the greatest threat, and this is exactly, I'm describing Rachel's killer to a T. This is the kind of person that will not show up on a normal reporting the names to ICE through the corrections. Those are the persons that are going to be missed, and those are the ones that we work with to identify those who pose, according to ICE's regulations, a public safety threat or a national security threat. And yet, there'll be those people who will be turned back out into our communities across this state. This bill, as we have said, is certainly counter to public safety.
May I ask again, Sheriff Gahler and Sheriff Jenkins, like the Cecil County Sheriff's Office that plans to do if this bill is signed into law, do your offices also plan to craft your own agreements to work with ICE in some other way?
I think it's a little premature for me to speak to that. I think we have to look for any avenue we can outside of these agreements to lawfully work with ICE, because our authorities are very limited. But what I think our challenge is as sheriffs, I think the challenge here is for us to find legal representation to get this into the courts, because we are all elected officials in our counties. We all have certain constitutional authorities that I don't believe the legislature can just upend like this. So I think that's where our fight is. That's where, if I can, again, find any type of legal representation of any organization, I'm willing to fight that fight, because I know this program has kept my county safe.
And what about you, Sheriff Gahler?
And I'll just echo what Sheriff Jenkins said. I've been saying we're handling this one step at a time. We've done the legislative. Now we're here at the governor's desk asking him not to sign it. We are going to continue to look at and review all options. Should he sign it, and I think that's very likely. What does that leave us to do? You asked about signing some other kind of agreement. I think that would be outlawed by this legislation. But what we could do without an agreement, I think that's kind of open-ended. But the same reason I joined this program 8 years ago and was accepted into it, this is a Democrat program. President Bill Clinton created this program. President Obama expanded the program and accepted my office into it, and yet it's the Democrats who have demonized it. This is good public safety. The same reason I joined this program is to not open my jail door and put a criminal back out into the community who poses a threat to the citizens that I'm supposed to protect. That is my interest, and no matter how I can do it, and we will work with whatever options provide us that. There's no better program than 287G, and again, calling the governor not to sign this terrible piece of legislation.
I'm sorry.
Is Wycomico's program a jail-based program as well? And what steps do you plan to take if this is signed into law?
Right, yeah, so we have a jail-based program as well, but we're the warrant service officer model. And so we don't have the equipment within the jail. So it's not probably as efficient as the jail enforcement model. So again, we are looking at different legal avenues as well to sort of look to see what our options are, the constitutionality of it. I'm very frustrated with this administration on a lot of different levels. Frustrated because of the overreach. There's overreach in every aspect, and this just adds to the list now in public safety. So we definitely plan to move forward with the legal aspect of it if somebody would take on the case.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just closing thought.
Closing thought. As a mother, as a grandmother, I have grandchildren, Rachel's children, that are growing up here in Harford County. They don't know half the things that have happened to their mother. They don't know because we're trying to protect them. This program helps to protect families. I don't want another family, another mother, to feel this sorrow, this devastation that comes from looking at your daughter's body and seeing the horrific crime that's been committed against her. I don't want another person to feel that or to even see that. This is a non-invasive, very vital program for our state and for our families and our communities. And I would urge Governor Mour to veto it, and I would urge Maryland citizens to call the governor and ask him to veto this. This is a very important program for us. And I just don't want anyone else to feel this. And I want to save life. You know, it's like when Rachel died, I was out of the state. And the thing that a mother wants to do more than anything is to protect her child. And I couldn't do that for my daughter. But I could possibly do that for somebody else by standing up for something that's correct and right. And it is correct and right to support this program and to allow it to continue and to expand it in Maryland, because it means it will save lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, sheriffs. Thank you, elected officials. Thank you to members of the media. We will conclude the press conference at this time, and the sheriffs, the elected officials, and Ms. Morin will be available for one-on-ones. Thank you.
Sorry, my hands are frozen. Sorry. I don't get to say anything.